Okay, Year 12, for your long-awaited video. This is the D1 video for the 3 questions in the mock. Now, in the mock, a lot of people drop marks, as I said in the lesson, by being careless. And so what I'm going to do is, in this video, is go through the video, so go through each question, but also go through where people drop marks and how to avoid doing that in future. Okay, so the first question was question 2, and we've got to do a quick sort on this data up here. So if we've got this data here, and we've got to do a quick sort, then what we do is we see how many pieces of data we've got. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of data. So therefore, if you do 10 plus 1 over 2, that gets you 5.5. So therefore, you want to take the one on the right-hand side. It's important that you take the one on the right-hand side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 31 is going to be your first pivot point. And then what we do is we read from left to right against the number 31. So we've got 18. So if we put the pivot point in the middle here, 31. We've got 18, which is less than 31, so we put it there. We've got 29, which is less than 31. 48 appears afterwards. Then we've got 9. Then we've got 42. We've got 37. We've got 24, which is less than 31. We've got 27. And we've got 41. Just going to put commas in between mine just so that it makes it clearer. And that's going to be our first step. Now, when I was going through the mark scheme, if we have a look at the first line up here, we've used 31, so I circled 31 to show that's the active pivot. And then the next line underneath it, I've underlined all the previous pivots. You don't necessarily need to do it this way, but it's the way that they do it in the exam, so it's probably going to be best off to try and do it that way as well. Okay, so then we've got two sides. We've got a subset of 9 here, and we've got a subset of 4 here. So we do 9 as the pivot, and the one on the right-hand side of the middle is going to be 37 over here. So if we write 31 down there, then we've got a pivot of 9. Now, 9 is pretty small, so I'm going to guess it's going to go over here somewhere. And I underline it to say there's going to be a previous pivot. And then again, for the subset that we're looking at, this one on the left, I'm going to read from left to right. So the first number is going to be 18. Then it's going to be 29. Then it's going to be 24. Then it's going to be 27. Then it's 31, which I'm going to underline because we've already used that before. Then we've got 37, which if you have a quick look at it, in this subset of 4 here, it's going to be the smallest. So I'm going to write 37 and underline that. And then reading this subset from left to right, we got 48, we got 42, we've got 41. So now we've got 2 more subsets, here and here. So again, we choose the one in the middle, or if there isn't one in the middle, the one just right of the middle. So we're going to choose 24, and we're going to choose 42. So let's bring down the pivots that we've already used, 31, 37, not sure where it's gone bold, 9. So using 24, reading from left to right, we've got, sorry, I'm going to underline 24 because that's a previous pivot now. So we've got 18, and we've got 29 and 27. So we always read from left to right. Then we've got 42, which we underline because we've already used that pivot, and 41 and 48. Okay, so now we have a look at this, and the only subset that's got more than 2 is this one here. So we need to use 27 as the pivot point there. So 9, 18, 24 going to underline, 27 we now underline, and then reading this subset we then put 29 afterwards. 31 we've already used, 37 we've already used, 41 we've already used, no sorry, 42 we've already used, and 48. And now we don't do any others because that's completely sorted, and so we can say stop sort complete, And we know that because all the remaining subsets just have one element in them. So therefore we can stop there. The most important thing to remember though on this, is we go for the one on the right hand side of the middle. So initially we had 10 pieces of data, so plus 1 divided by 2 is going to be 5.5, so that's going to be on the right hand side. And again, for the second set of subsets here, we choose the one in the middle, and we choose the right of the middle for 24. Then we keep going. But it's important that we read from left to right, and that is the key thing. So when we had 31 as our first pivot, we start reading 18 and put it either left or right of 31, then 29, then 48, then 9, then 42, then 37, then 24, 27, and 41. And we've got to do it in that order. When we get to the second subset, on the second pass, we've highlighted 9 as the pivot point. Then we read from this whole subset here, from left to right. So we read 18 first, then 29, then 24, and then 27. And we put them on either the left-hand side or the right-hand side of 9, whether or not it's bigger or smaller. Okay, let's get rid of that. So going back to the next question, the next thing we had to do was to do a bubble sort in ascending order. So bubble sort in ascending order for part B. So the first thing we do on a bubble sort is we just compare these two numbers here, and we're going to go from left to right. So we compare 72 and 53, and if 72 is bigger, then we swap it, and it is in this case. So therefore 53 is going to go there. Let's just make my pen slightly thinner. So we compare 72 and 53, so 53 is going to go there. We're then going to so 72 will now be in this spot. So we compare 72 and 89. 72 is going to be smaller, so that goes there. So now we compare 89 and 91. 89 is the next smallest. We then compare 91 and 68. 68 will then swap with 91. So we're now going to compare these two, which isn't 68 and 67, it's 91 and 67, because we've already swapped them. So 91 and 67 we need to swap, so that's going to be 60, no it's not, sorry. It's going to be 67, then 91 will go here. So we now compare 91 and 90, which we then swap again. We then compare 91 and 77, so 77 will go there. We then compare 91 and 83, so we get 83. We then compare 91 and 75, so 75 goes here. And then we have 91 at the end. Now by doing this, you're always going to get the largest go to the end. So therefore, the next time 91 will be there. We don't need to compare it anymore because we've already know that 91 is going to be the largest on the end. We then repeat the process. So we compare 53 and 72, which is in the correct order. So I'm going to keep 53 there. We then compare 72 and 89. 72 is in the correct place. We then compare 89 and 68. So we need to swap those around. So 68 will go here. We're then going to compare 89 and 67. So 89 is going to be here now. So we compare 89 and 90. So 89 is in the correct place. We're then going to compare 90 and 77. So 77 and 90 swap. We're then going to compare 90 and 83. So now 90 is going to be here. Compare 90 and 75. You get that? So we've got 90 and 91 now in the correct place, because we've done two passes, so it's going to be the N2 which are in the correct place. So we know that for next time, it's going to be tickety-boo. Okay, now we compare 53 and 72. So 53 and 72 in the correct, or 53 is below 72 anyway, so we don't swap there. We then compare 72 and 68, so we're going to do a swap. We then compare 72 and 67. Then compare 72 and 89, so 72 is less than 89, so that goes there. Then compare 89 and 77. Then compare 89 and 83. Then compare 89 and 75. And we've now done three passes, so last three would be in the correct place. So next time we're going to have 89, 90 and 91 in the correct places. We then repeat the process, 53 and 68, so 53 is in the correct place. 68 and 67, so 67 and 68 need to swap. And so 68 and 72 we compare now. 68 will be in the correct place. We then compare 72 and 77, 72 is in the correct place. We then compare 77 and 83, and they're in the correct place. We compare 83 and 75, and that's it. And now we've done 4 passes, so the last 4 will be in the correct place. Back to blue. So 85, 89, 90 and 91 are all correct. We're then going to do another one, so we compare 73 and 67. That's correct. 67 and 68 is correct. 68 and 72 is correct. 72 and 77 is correct. 77 and 75 do swap, which means that these are correct. So now 77, 85, 89, 90 and 91 are all in the correct place. Now, even though we can look at it and we can see that it's correct, we do need to do another pass, because the only time we stop is when we do a pass and there's no swaps, or we do a pass and there's only 2 items in there. So we then compare 53 and 67 on the final pass, and that's correct. We then compare 67, 68, which is correct, 68 and 72, which is correct, 72 and 75, which are all correct. And then we can say stop, stop, sort complete. No switches, or no swaps in the final pass. Okay, and then that question's done. So going back to this one here, go back to the first question. Alan's combined batting score for the entire season was this one here. Now A and B on the whole were done pretty well. I mean, most people knew what to do. The one that let people down was C, and it's the binary search. So if we go on to question C, the first thing we have to do here is we need to number them. So we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way up to the end. So we've got 20 pieces of data there. So we've got to do a binary search, and we are, oh, didn't even see what we were looking for. We are looking for the number 68. So we've written down all the numbers, and we've got to find the number 68. So there's 20 pieces of data, so what you need to write down is 1 plus 20. So it's the first plus the last one in the list. So 1 plus 20 divided by 2 is going to be 10.5. So you look for the 11th piece. The 11th one is 53. So 53 is less than 68. So ignore 1 to 11. And it's important that we say which ones we ignore. So we're ignoring 1 to 11. So let's get rid of those ones there. So we're now left with 12 through to 20. So the next thing, and this is where people drop the marks, is we do 12 plus 20 divided by 2. And a lot of people rewrote the list with 1 plus 8 divided by, or 1 plus 9 divided by 2, which didn't work. We've got to keep them as the number 12 and keep it as the number 20, and that is where people drop them up beforehand. So 12 plus 20 is 32, divided by 2 equals 16. So we have a look at number 16, and we say that 77 is greater than 68. So ignore 16 to 20. Oh, sorry, 16 to 20, so ignore those ones there. And so we were only left with 12 up to 15. So again, we repeat the process. 12 plus 15 divided by 2. 27 divided by 2 equals 13.5, which goes to the 14th piece, which is 72. And we say that 72 is bigger than 68. So ignore, what have we just done? 14 and 15. So ignore 14 to 15. Get rid of those. And now we've got 12 plus 13 divided by 2, which equals 12.5, which goes to 13, which this is 68. Therefore, stop search. Now the thing where people dropped marks last time is that they rewrote the list on the second one. So people did pick up 1 mark for doing the first bit correctly, but you've got to set it out like we have done here. That's really, really important. Again, at any point you can pause the video or stop the video, rewind the video to redo this question. Or what you could do, because we're going to go straight through and do question 2, 3 and 5, is you can pause the video here, go off, do a couple of these questions, check the mark schemes, see if you get it right, and then come back and watch the rest of the video. Or you can choose to watch the whole video all the way through. Okay, the next question was this one here, which is Dijkstra's algorithm to get from A to J. And for this one, you get to use the answer booklet in the back. So we have this one here. Now I know we've done this one in class, but we can always use this as revision. So the box here is explained here. So you've got the vertex, which is A, the order of labeling. So I would always put 1 here. However, they do accept it if you put 0 there. The final value is 0, but they do like a working value of 0 as well. Now, in the mark scheme for the 2015 paper, they allowed you not to put the working value as 0, but I'd always put it there just in case. Once you've started and we've labelled this one as A, or labelled this one as 1, we then do everything that comes off this one. So B comes off it, and that's got a working value of 5. C comes off it, which has got a working value of 12. And then we C, which has got the smallest working value. So the smallest working value that we've got is this one here, is B, sorry. So we're going to give that final value of 5, and label that as our second one. Once we've done that, we do everything that comes off B. So B plus, sorry, 5 plus 6 is going to be 11, so we need to have 11 written down here. And 5 plus 2 is going to give us 7. So now of all the ones that are temporary that have only got working values, we've got F, which is 7, and we've got C, which is 11. So the smallest working value is 7. So we write that as the final value and call this one our third one. So we've now made that one permanent. So we've now got to see what comes off F. So we've got 7 plus 2 equals 9. We've got 7 plus 8, which is 15. We've now got 3, which have got working values that have not been made permanent yet. That's this one, G, D, and C. So the smallest of the working values is D. So we label that one as 9. And we make that our fourth one. And now we do everything that's coming off D. So D plus 1 equals 10. 9 plus 10 equals 19. And 9 plus 5 equals 14. We've now got 3 that are permanent. So we've got 3 which are temporary. And that's G, C, and E. And this one is the smallest. So we make that permanent now. And that's our fifth one. Then coming off C, we've got 7. So we can do 10 plus 7 is 17. And that's the only other one that's coming off C. Everything else coming off C has been made permanent already. So we've then got G and we've got E, and the smallest out of those two is G. So that's going to be our sixth one. We have that as 14. And then coming off G, we've got 14 plus 2 is 16. 14 plus 1 is 15. 14 plus 9, which is 23. So of the remaining ones, H is the next smallest, so that one's going to be 7, and we label that as 15. And then we do everything that's coming off H. So 15 plus 5 is 20, but the smallest we've got already is 16, so we don't worry about that. 15 plus 7 is 22. Now, of the remaining ones, E is the next smallest, so we have that one as the 8th one, and we have a permanent of 16. Now, all the other ones coming off E are permanent already, so we don't do anything else there. And the only remaining one is J, so that's going to be our 9th one, and that's going to be 22. And the shortest route then is this, which is 22. And then we've got to see how we get from A to J. And that comes up as the, length of the shortest route is 22. And we've got to see in part B how we get from A to J. And the way we did that is 22 take away 7 is 15, so it goes to, if we work backwards, that's J, H. We then go back 1 to get to G. We then go back 5 to get to D. We then go back 2 to get to F. We then go back another 2 to get to B. Then go back another 5 to get to A. And that's our shortest route, and that's the length of it. Okay, that's getting annoying. So if we go back to the original question, the next thing we have to do is explain how we determine the shortest route on the diagram. So the way we did that, and the way we have to explain that, is, so part B, to explain the shortest route, we have to say, the key parts here is that we have to use the final value. So we work backwards, and by saying we work backwards, we get ourselves 1 mark anyway. We work backwards from J, and from the final value, and what they're looking for you to use the word final value. We subtract the weight of the arcs. Again, they're looking for key things, so we're looking at subtract the weight of the arcs to get the next final value, or the preceding final value. And that should be enough to get you 2 marks. What I would also do though, I'd write IE and actually do it. So I would say that we did 22 take away this 7, and that equals 15. We then did 15, and we took away 1, and that gave us 14. We did 14 take away 5, and that gave us 9. We did 9 take away 2, and that equals 7. We did 7 take away 2, and that gave us 5. Then did 5 take away 5, which gave us 0. And that's how we get all the way back. The next question asked us to find the shortest route from A to J, but via E. So we've got to go to E first. So if we go back to this, let's get rid of a bunch of stuff that we don't need. Right, now we've got to get from A down to J, but we've got to go via E here. Now the key thing here for this question is that we know that the final value at E is the quickest way to get from A to E. So to get from A to E, that's going to take us 16. Then we've got to get from E to J in the quickest way. Now the quickest way to get from E to J takes a little bit of looking at. You don't go 5 and 7. There's a quick way to get from E to H. That's to go 2, 1, and then 7. So the quickest way to get from E to J is E to G to H to J. And that's going to be 2, 1, and 7. 2 plus 1 plus 7. Then we've also got to figure out the quickest way to get from E to G. And again, we can do that by working backwards. So to get from A to E, we went A to B, or if we work backwards, 16 take away the 2 is 14, take away 5 is 9, take away 2, which is a 7, take away 2, take away 5. So we've gone E to G to D to F to B. So overall, to get from A to J, is we combine both these things. So A, B, F, D, G, E. It's the quickest way to get from A to E. Then to get from E to J, we've seen that we go back to G to H to J. And that's a weight of A to E, which is 16, E to J, which is 2 plus 1 plus 7, which is 10. So the total is going to be 26. And that's where I'm going to need to leave this video because I've got to leave the classroom now. Okay, boys and girls, I shall do the next one next week. Okay.